Hey, peace world. Thanks for pressing play. Anybody that checks this out after the fact, Saturday night we saw the U.S. debut of Tszyu, second generation fighter. I think his father, Costa, is a Hall of Famer down at junior welterweight and whatnot. He's up at 154 pounds, took on Olympian, veteran, and I think he's, one or two time world challenger in Terrell Gausha. We saw the kid get knocked down in the first round, and then came back and dominated. Most of the other 12, the most of the other 11 rounds. Had a big round in the fifth, another big round in the eighth, and really it was just I just see a tough guy. I think I don't need to waste a lot of time here talking about the guy's deficiencies, the lack of a lot of head movement, the lack of a lot of upper body movement, the heavier feet. He's not a dynamic fighter. He's just not. I don't have to bash the kid. He wanted to come over here and fight in the States. He's been vocal about that. I tip my cap to the guy. You get past a guy like Gausha, what does it mean? Just a new article that just popped up here. He's actually like very set on one day fighting in Las Vegas. So that kind of dispels or rips up one of my ideas that he brings an interesting business opportunity to the division. What's up, Latours? How you doing, sir? Good afternoon. I thought he brought a interesting business play to the division after this win. That if Charlo was to defeat Castano, it's a chance for Charlo to go over to Australia and have some kind of big fight if he wanted to do that. I don't think that Charlo is necessarily an internationally known or regarded fighter, so I don't know if that really works out for what Australia would be looking to do. If Charlo was to win, does he just vacate the belts and go up to middleweight? If he would do that, then I think it's all kind of interesting possibilities for the division. If Lubin defeats Fundora, would there be any interest in the PBC putting on Charlo and Lubin? I don't think so. I don't think Charlo would really be interested in that fight versus going up to 160. Looked huge in the fight. He had a good punch selection, but it's easy to hit. Yeah, and that's it. Like I said, he's a tough guy, throws bombs. He's a hungry guy. I just would like to see, I don't know how how he match up with another young and hungry fighter. The dude is 27 though, so it's not a lot of time to waste with him on like horizontal fights. He should be trying to get a world title fight. But what I was getting ready to say was, somebody like a Charles Conwell is an interesting opponent if the belts all became available and him and Tszyu could face off for a vacant title. Both of them are highly ranked in 3 of the 4 sanctioning bodies. So there's plenty of opportunity if any of those if any of those 3 belts became vacant. Conceivably, those two could get matched up for for a championship. And I think Tszyu might be a little bigger than Charles Conwell, height wise, and maybe like you just said, Latours. He might even on fight night maybe he'd have some kind of weight advantage on the Charles Conwell. But I think that'd be an excellent fight if that was the case. Again, I don't know. I can't predict the future and don't know where Jermell Charlo would choose, what he would choose to do with his career. If he is to emerge as the undisputed champion in the division. And, nobody's not even trying to overlook Castano and say that he can't win that fight. I think Castano and Tszyu would be an excellent fight as well. And then in that matchup right there, you get a dude who's going to be coming forward and trying to speed up Tszyu. Whereas we kind of understood, we had a good idea of what the ceiling was for Terrell Gausha. He's going to fight controlled. He's going to fight. He's going to be very measured offensively. He never really tried. He did land the right hand a few more times, especially in the first half of the fight, but he never set it up and the way that he timed it when he got the knockdown. Personally, for the guy, with him being a Cleveland native, I hated to see him not really and being where he is in his career. I hated to see the guy kind of not get reckless for a minute and really go for it, and try to turn this kid back. Lubin Fandor would fight with him. Yeah, that's another one. Yeah, either one, Erickson, Lubin, or Fandor against Tszyu. Like he's gonna be in a good fight either way. I'm just trying to think through if it was for a vacant title, like I said, he could go with him wanting to stay in the States and be successful in the States. He could do a championship fight here. Or my thought was if they were to match him up with Charles Conwell, that wouldn't be a bad fight back in Australia, in my opinion. And then with Conwell being with this Pro Bellum, they're kind of more internationally focused. So in my, just thinking through it, it seems like that would make good sense if they wanted to go in that direction. So I'd like to see that. Yeah, I think that'd be a good fight, man. I think Conwell might be 25 now. He might be 24, 25 now. Like I said, Tszyu is 27. So I think that would be a great matchup. And in my opinion, super welterweight for the last 5 to 6 years, and they mentioned it on the telecast or the broadcast, but super welterweight, the big names haven't really been there as far as any kind of like household names or any dudes on the cusp of kind of transcending boxing. But it's been a good set of champions, and they've all fought one another. We know Canelo Alvarez spent a few years there, had a couple of key fights. The Charlo brothers have been there. Andre was there. Jared Hurd came in and had a good 2 years or whatever, 2.5 years. J-Rock was there. And a couple other dudes, who kind of fell off as they became contenders. So it's just been Tony Harrison was there, was there. I think is he moving up? He's either 154 or 160. So it's been a nice set of guys who've been there and who've all fought one another over the last 5 or 6 years. They've all kind of been relatively close in skill level and ability and whatnot. So the fights have been competitive. And I think a dude like Tszyu, he comes in and can kind of continue the type of competitiveness that we've seen at 154. And then it's a credit to the division that these guys have been able to get in here. And we've seen this round robin of sorts where, like I said, most of these guys have been in the ring with each other. The only two that really comes to mind that things got messed up was Jared Hurd and Charlo. Neither of the Charlos were able to fight, and I think that may have been a pretty good scrap, but it just never happened. Injuries, mandatories, scheduling conflicts, it just never happened. And now we don't even know where Jared Hurd is with his career whatsoever. So again, Tszyu comes in at a good moment, and will probably make for good TV fights. Me kind of looking at boxing the way that I look at it, I would love if the kid improved a couple of things, before he got in there with any of the champions and whatnot. Again, it's very weird. It seems like a very weird approach to try to walk dudes down without a lot of feints, without a busy jab. He doesn't have the fastest hand speed. it's just going to be extremely difficult to find, world class dudes who are just going to stand here and kind of do some old school, straight up battle type stuff. Most guys are going to try to take you out of your comfort zone, make you move those feet a lot more, not let you get set up, not stay within range of you, not be dipping over into the uppercut, not stand directly in front of the guy. So most of the champions and the contenders at that division, nobody is really going to be that. Nobody's going to stand there like Terrell Gausha with the high guard all night, allowing himself to get pushed into the ropes, trapped in the ropes, and allow you to work on the body in the manner that he did. I thought I wrote that down. Maybe that was another fight. But yeah, nobody's really going to be that cooperative. Nobody's going to be willing to, not anybody else who's going for their first world title or even like their second time at going at a world title, knowing that you probably won't get a third one. You're probably not going to find anybody that's going to be that compliant, So I would love to see if there could be that type of improvement in his game, and they could, he could do some other things. But I do salute the kid for figuring it out on the fly after he was dropped. To get up off the ground and not totally a long way from Australia, not totally go to pieces in the face of adversity. I liked how he fought through it. And that's another little detail right there. You're not going to be able to fight your way back into every fight when you do get hurt early on or even late. You're not always going to be able to just slug it out. You might get hit by a bigger puncher. I mean, Gausha is a decent puncher or a solid puncher, but it might be a guy with heavier hands, maybe catches you with a combination of something and gets you down where you're more hurt. And you're gonna need a game plan in that particular. Am I gonna hold? Am I gonna do some of the veteran tricks? And some of the guys they fall down, spit out mouthpieces. They pull the referee in between them, and they find any way to kind of slow down the clock while they regroup. Like I said, just straightforward resume boxing and resume slugging is not always going to be the way to kind of clear out the cobwebs, regroup, and get back into a fight. So I think, like Gausha, like I said, we know what his ceiling is. I just saw another article where he said of his own performance, he said he went out like a champion. And that's kind of the story on Gausha. He had the skills, seemingly had the skills to be a world champion and to win one of these bigger fights that he's had. But it's just something in him to where he's never threw caution to the wind and just refused to lose. And, some guys have that, they have that ceiling. They have that hurdle that they can't get over, and they don't go up against the right guy, the right dance partner for them. Some guys get a title. It just works out that way. They really just had to show up and be themselves, and they get a title. Some of these guys got to go in here and actually fight somebody who is not a 50-50 fight. It's not a 70-30 or 80-20 fight in their favor. Some of these guys got to really go in here and get it out the mud. And I was getting ready to mention Herring. Of course, Herring doesn't have that type of punching power. Or, you talking about Gausha. I told you I don't know where's Afternoon L? Afternoon Latoris or something. You know all of this stuff. I know you working right now. But yeah, that's a good point. That's that. I got a couple minutes. I'm looking forward to Shakur Stevenson and Oscar Valdez. I don't see Valdez really being the challenge that I'm looking for, or the clash of styles that I'm looking for Shakur Stevenson to face. But I do think it's kind of go time for Shakur Stevenson, where we need to see him matched matched against somebody that's going to bring something out of him. I think, nobody's been able to speed the guy up. Herring didn't pose much of a, wasn't much of a puzzle. He just walked through Herring, beat Herring up. Here with Oscar Valdez, maybe a decent punch. Maybe he's got some aggression to him. But I mean, we've seen him be knocked down early by Adam Lopez, I believe, and hurt badly. So and then the performance against Miguel Burchell, who would you like I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I really don't know. I really don't know. I'm not a matchmaker, so that's not really my specialty. But I just want to see somebody, like, to me, like I said, he's been able to just beat everybody with plan A to this point, and that's great. I take nothing away from Shakur Stevenson. He has good. I think he has great. He has great tail of the tape. In that, for these couple of divisions, height wise, arm, reach and all of that type stuff, good reflexes, not truly a real power puncher or anything, but has shown some decent power, good power. But I want to see him do more. He kind of just, nobody's really been able to pressure him in any way. Nobody's really hit the kid. So I just want to see him really get in his bag and show his full skill set. But like I said, I think I may have just commented on some Instagram posts. If you can keep it basic, if you can keep it fundamental, and you can keep it simple, and you can win titles or beat other champions, or and fight amongst the world-class guys, and nobody can get you off your game, then that's a testament to your skills. But I just want to see more. I'm tired of Bradley and Andre Ward telling me everything that he is. I want to see an opponent in there that's going to help reveal that part of the story for Shakur Stevenson. And Valdez, I don't really see him being able to do that. I could see him kind of getting, and he said it the other night. That's another thing you said, Latours. I meant to mention that when you texted me the other day. This deal for Haney. This deal for Haney with I don't even know how you get here where you got to sign a deal with 2 and 3 people, and your whole you got 2 years tied up, and now you got to fight Lomachenko. I mean, who even puts this in front of the kid? But where I was going was Shakur is, he came out and said he had to take less money to make this. Exactly. He had to come out and take less money to make this fight. And I think it's unfortunate from the outside looking in, but I like the guys that have to bet on themselves. I mean, because for Haney, it kind of sucks. But I mean, hey, if you beat the hell out of Kambosos, and then next thing you go and you were able to beat a Lomachenko, the first part of Haney's career is kind of is established by getting those victories, and it's locked in that they got to fight you. So I mean, there is a peace of mind in that you're not sitting out here trying to negotiate for fights, or you're not trying to sit here and get the right matches put in front of you. If you go out here and do what you're supposed to do and what you say you can do on Instagram, it'll work out in the end. But it's just weird who has to make these types of fights, especially when we look at somebody like Munguia, who gets the headline for like 2 years now and not fight mandatory opportunities that he's earned, and just avoid 1 or 2 champions and just keep sitting here getting headline bouts. I mean, that's weird to me. But here it is, between Stevenson and Haney, these dudes got to go. One of them has to go to Australia and fight. and you had a belt before the man. You know what I'm saying? And you couldn't get the one or two opponents that he, had his mandatory helped him get it. But now you got to go over there. You got to go down under the fight. So it's a tough business. It's a tough business. But anyway, Tszyu, like I said, man, I looked at the Showtime schedule. One or two people that podcast and do their thing, weren't feeling what I was talking about in calling out boxing on the BS. But my main point was I just was tired of watching the same story over and over and over. And I felt like Tszyu coming along, that was a new story for me. I mean, we've seen some dudes throughout the years who've kind of been at this, who've come into a division kind of representing the same thing that we see with Tszyu. But it was something intriguing to me. It was really a kid kind of betting on himself in reverse. Somebody that wanted to come here to the States. Some of these international guys, it takes forever for them to come over to the States. We did have Taylor come here, last year and beat Ramirez, kind of make his statement. But that's just it doesn't work out for everybody. I've probably seen more females come over here to the States and do some business versus many of the European men in the last 5 to 7 years. But that's neither here nor there. Hey, I just had to come in. Like I said, my Saturday night, or actually early Sunday morning recap of the card. It was after 2:00 in the morning. But I had something to do Sunday morning, so I just jumped on here and was running my mouth on the card. Michelle Rivera, who took down Joseph Adorno. Nice jab on the young man. Good victory for him. Doesn't really, I don't think it really announced or established Michelle Rivera as a major player at 140. Just beating a dude with your jab all night. But he stays in the running, and like I said, it's a ton of bodies at 140. It's probably 12 guys at 140 who could be mixed up in a number of different ways. So that's not a bad division to just be sitting there as a contender. We don't know what's going on with the belts with Josh Taylor. Is he going up to 147? Is he coming back down? I would think a damn decision would have to be made here in the next month or two. Like, you just can't sit here with 4 belts and not do anything. So, maybe that group of guys can get some ideas of what's going on with those belts. So what we got? 135 could be all one guy. 140 could be all one guy, or a bunch of people could get shots. 147 is kind of trending towards a undisputed champion. Maybe it's a lot of business to be worked out there. 154 could be undisputed, or everything could be relinquished. 160 is a dead zone. Super middleweight in limbo right now. I mean, the dude with all the titles is actually fighting a 175-pound championship. So it's a lot of divisions with 1 or 2 guys holding the titles. So that's a pretty interesting moment for boxing. When we complain, the general complaint is these guys aren't fighting one another. But I just said 4 or 5 divisions that are all kind of going towards there being 1 or 2 champions. So, that kind of speaks to the contrary to that. Anyway, let me get on out of here, get back to work. I didn't even look at the schedule this week to see what... I'm on BoxRec. We got this week. Nothing. Yeah, nothing coming up this week. So, interesting. We have Golovkin on the April 9th against Murata, DAZN. April 9th is also Ryan Garcia and Emmanuel Tago. Boxing is kind of thin for 2 or 3 weeks. So that's that. I'll check back in though on all of it. Let me get on out of here. Bite down boxing. Don't let them count you out. Pay me no mind. Sports and entertainment. On the big news story today is obviously Will Smith and Chris Rock. I might do a podcast on that later on my It's Always Personal. Got some thoughts on that, but I ain't really gonna get into it on here. Let me get on out of here. Peace.